Today, we transition from the hilly woods of the Pocono Mountains to the sun-swept beaches of southern Florida as we get ready to go racing here at Homestead Miami Speedway for the WSL European NASCAR League. Hello, everyone. My name is DJ Clark, joined in the booth here today by David Christie. And David, this is a mile-and-a-half oval, something that we are used to seeing on the NASCAR schedule, but this thing is a different beast entirely as to the other ones that we are used to over the course of the year. There you can see the information out there. A cool and breezy 25 degrees Celsius in the air right now, partially cloudy with 69% humidity. That is certainly going to help things out a little bit as we get going around, watching and waiting here for practice to finish up. About 35 seconds left to go in practice as we work our way closer and closer to the point to get ready to go live racing. This track, with its progressive banking around here, going to be a little bit different, going to be a little bit interesting as things go. Hearing from the drivers right now, actually, that it is incredibly tight, incredibly close around.
Hello, DJ. Right, I'm actually here this time, so apologies about that. I have actually unmuted my mic, and it's fantastic to actually be on the commentary team, sounding like I have a clue what I'm talking about NASCAR for the second week in a row. I might be trying to make a habit of this, but I promise, DJ, I'm not trying to steal your job.
Well, we will figure out one way or another to get things going. And yeah, we've been hearing a little bit from the drivers here. Just the transitioning coming out of the banking, David, particularly difficult. These cars, they're going to be a real handful, I think.
Yeah, look, they absolutely are. We saw last week how difficult the cars can be, especially when the tyres get up to speed and they start slipping and sliding and they get a little bit greasy. Very, very difficult with that snap oversteer. I think tonight is going to be another example of that. But what I would say, DJ, is that yet again, last week proved to us that the EU lot, surprisingly maybe, able to outshine the US lot in terms of the yellow flag racing, or the green flag racing rather. The yellow flags that we had in the US version were just off the chart. I think we had something like 14 yellow flags by the end of it, and the European guys, I always feel, tend to be able to mix in the pack a little bit better. I wonder why that is.
I'm not entirely sure. I think part of it may just be down to a lack of aggression, and I mean that in a good way. A lot of American drivers here driving on the sim tend to be a little bit more aggressive. As we take a look there at the championship standings, as you can see, Sean Campbell leading the way with a pretty healthy margin of just under 20 points there. Hey, Will's behind him. Isaac Rain looking to maybe come in on that second place position. Mark Redford, Kevin Stammen, a tie back in fourth place right now. Matthew Hetrick about 6 points behind him. Brandon Hughes about 9 points behind Hetrick. Saoirse Fitzpatrick there very, very close to maybe being to punch her way into the top 5. Matthew Bruno and Rich Matthews rounding out our top 10.
And of course, the difficult thing with that is we're coming to the end of the season now. So for the likes of Harry Wills, Isaac Rain, Mark Redford, they need to step on the gas, if you'll excuse the pun. They need to get going right now. They need to get the points in the bag to make this actually happen. Otherwise, they're kind of leaving it maybe a little bit too late here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. It is definitely go time here. We only have 2 more rounds, including today. So as we watch here, qualifying starting to come in, Bruno and Will starting to put down some good laps right now. The number 24 leading the way, Isaac Rain, another one of those drivers that you just talked about, jumping his way up into the top slot.
Absolutely, and the thing is that the other thing that I find fascinating as well, having done the broadcast, having done the producing, and jumping into the commentary box here, is how quickly they get qualifying done and dusted with, DJ. Now, in road racing that we work together on, we normally see they'll come out for maybe one qualifying lap, then go back in for a couple of minutes, and then come back out again. But with only having the 2 laps that they have, it's you have to go immediately. You have to make that all count in the one go there. But I always find it fascinating how by 5 minutes qualifying tends to be done and dusted.
You're very right about that. And, one of the things with that is that when you run only 2 qualifying laps here in a NASCAR setting, these NASCARs, they're not exactly like an IndyCar or a Formula One machine, as there we see Sir Fitzpatrick getting a little bit friendly with that outside wall on the exit of turn 3. These are really momentum-based cars. They really carry their roots in a lot of, frankly, dirt track racing and short track racing across the country, that it takes them a minute to get up to speed. And so you really need to be running 2 laps at full tilt to be able to get everything going.
Not just that, I mean, Shersa Fitzpatrick here has done her 2 laps, and it looked like just taking an extra lap to figure out how the car's handling, how it's bedding itself in. A lot of the drivers taking themselves through that free practice earlier on, but I guess it doesn't hurt to just have that last little look and figure out where all the grip is here at Miami Homestead.
Yeah, exactly. And as we said, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how things play out. We've heard a lot of drivers talking about running a little bit looser, running a little bit in a little bit scary settings, as they were saying. Very, very snappy cars coming off of turns 2 and 4, in particular, the transition off of the banking, complaining a lot of snap oversteer and trying to figure out how to run that. We're seeing Saoirse here running up on the high line. It is progressive banking around here, so that's a very, very viable strategy, but I've got to imagine it's a little bit scary. If the car snaps on you, you're right in the wall. Yeah,
I definitely wouldn't be wanting to try that. My oval experience is very, very limited. I've tended to do maybe the odd street stock race or some of the truck racing that's there as well. I'm still a D license, so I don't tend to do a lot of it. However, it is absolutely fascinating once you actually get into it, because the premise for us non-NASCAR watchers is that, oh, it's so boring, it's just cars turning left, and then you get yourself behind the wheel and you figure out, oh my god, there's how could it be so different? How could it be so complicated taking those corners? But it absolutely is, because every single lap, DJ, is this little fight of balance with the track, with the car, with yourself. You want to try and get as much speed out the corners, but you're also having to fight the car in tiny, tiny little details as well.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. Those tiny details, those tiny little corrections, the less of them that you have to make, the better off you're going to be. Talking about that momentum, talking about trying to get the maximum speed out of the car, the less you have to move that steering wheel, the less tire scuffing you're going to have across the track, and it's going to play out for you. We watch here Matthew Hetrick, one of 3 drivers yet to set a time down. Hetrick, Timms, and Reynolds right now, the ones who have not qualified yet, but with about just under 4 minutes to go. Plenty of time to get those fast times still on the board. Yeah,
just again, the other bit that I really enjoy watching is the tactics of this, because the warm-up lap, I would say, DJ, is so important with these cars, especially with these next-gen cars that we've got here for NASCAR. I think you've got to be so careful on how you bring these tyres up to speed, how you bring the car up to speed, because if you push a little bit too early when the tyres aren't up to heat, up to temperature and up to pressure, it's so easy for that back end to slip out. You overcorrect it and your qualifying session is absolutely done before you've even started it.
Yeah, exactly. Tire wear, always such a big thing. I think you hit the nail on the head, getting them up into the right operating window and getting them right at the right time. We see here Matthew Hetrick running a little bit of that higher line here, just trying to carry as much momentum as possible in and out of the corners. It looks like that's going to be the kind of preferred way around here. Now, Hetrick looking like he's about a second off of Isaac Rain's top time. But as we said, 2 laps here. So the fastest lap, the money lap, is going to be that second lap. He's going to take a lower line there through 3 and 4. Let's see what Hetrick can do as he comes across the line now. Is that going to jump him up anywhere? That's only going to be good enough for 8th place.
Yeah, that's a bit of a surprise. We usually see Matthew doing a really good job in qualifying, I guess, with only the 12 cars in the server just now, as we see Stuart Reynolds jumping up into, what's that, 7th position, putting Matthew Hetrick down a little bit even more there. What we've seen so far here is the fact that qualifying, it does matter, but it's more important getting yourself on that right line, getting yourself into position. We know there will be yellow flags. That's a given here, especially here at Miami Homestead. The problem with that is, how is your strategy? You want to be as far up the front as you possibly can, I would imagine, DJ, to make sure that you're not using that fast repair too early.
Yeah, exactly. You want to try to get into that. As there we have the advancement of the session, it looks like, and we are going to get ready to go racing here at Miami Homestead. Lining up in pole position, as we said, it's going to be Isaac Rain with Matthew Bruno to his outside. Harry Wills will be behind him with Sean Campbell in fourth. Mark Redford will be fifth, and Saoirse Fitzpatrick will be sixth. Stuart Reynolds back in seventh with Jeff Browning eighth. Matthew Heatrick surprisingly down in ninth. Not the best qualifying there for him. Bernie Menard will be 10th with Brendan Hughes in 11th. Kevin Stam and Dean Timms will round out your 13-car field here today.
And what a field it has been. I mean, obviously we're coming down to the tail end of the season here, and essentially what you're finding out is that it's the title protagonists that are remaining in these final rounds here. But you've still got a good, healthy amount of people that are still here, DJ, that aren't able to compete for the title, but they've just had an absolute blast taking part in this championship.
Exactly, and we've seen, those drivers be able to come in and stick their nose in. It's one of the great things about NASCAR racing that you're really able to see when you roll into a session. You never know who's going to win, just the roll of the dice, and especially at a track like this where we talked about that lack of grip, we talked about how tricky it can be to run around here. Just about everything can happen as we get ready to go racing. Just waiting for, it looks like, Wills and Fitzpatrick to grid up here, and we will be able to get going here under the iRacing pace car.
So the $1 million question, DJ, is what can we expect from tonight? So this is my very first time seeing the track here at Miami Homestead. Obviously we've spoken quite a lot about previous rounds and how the drivers have been able to perform up until now. For me, I'm interested in the likes of Saoirse Fitzpatrick down there in that 6th position. For me, always it feels like with her, it's always a bridesmaid, never the bride. She's had a good start to the season, but after that, it seems to be any sort of accident that is around, there is some sort of giant magnet that sucks that car straight in.
Yeah, she is very, very unlucky on this season. And, normally it's one of those things that you just have to say you've got to wait until the time comes out and the time gets right to be able to come on in for her. I've got to think that she's going to have a good result here, either in today's race or in next week's. It is just a matter of time. Matthew Bruno here starting off in P2. He's another one to keep an eye out for. Haven't seen the best season there out of the 24, but certainly a quick car and a quick car here today. Hopefully that will play out for the 24. A smaller grid here today, I think that's going to help us minimize some of the yellows out on the track, but I think one thing is in store. We are going to have some very, very close racing.
I can only agree with you wholeheartedly. That's exactly what I'm hoping for as well, especially always having, the likes of Isaac Rain, Harry Wills, Fitzpatrick in there, Jeff Browning. Anytime you get drivers like that together in this small field, it is going to be fiery, I think it's safe to say. But the problem is going to be these restarts. This is where it's make or break for these early stages here.
It is indeed, and there the pace car pulls off into pit lane, and there goes the green. We are racing at Homestead, Miami. It is Isaac Rain with a lightning start on the rest of the field. He is able to pull away there as they get going. Matthew Bruno going to be running up on the high line there. Looks like Sean Campbell able to jump up a couple of positions there behind him, as there's a little bit of a slide there in the back for Mark Redford as he tries to get his way going up forward. Everybody going, and we've got a car down to the inside there. I believe that's Stuart Reynolds. Big damage to the left-hand side of the car, but onto the apron, we stay green.
Wow, what an instant that was for Stuart Reynolds there. I'm surprised that stayed green there, but yeah, here we go. We're still racing, and that fight at the back is getting very, very tasty. Interesting to see Dean Timms still in the fight here, especially DJ, as he didn't set a qualifying time, but again, trying to keep himself within contention here.
Yes, he is trying to hold off Brandon Hughes there, who's going to almost throw a little bit of a slide job coming back on to the back straight here, and that is going to be a thing that we are going to be talking about quite a bunch today. Those sliders getting thrown, that is probably going to be your best way by here. Looks there that like Dean Timms had to check up a little bit through the corner, and that's going to allow for Brandon Hughes to get on by here as we work lap 3.
The other thing with it, DJ, as well, is that, you know, given that we've got 100 laps here at Miami, you need to settle down very, very quickly. You have to get yourself into that nice rhythm, that good pace. With, you know, as long as it's fast, as long as you're comfortable with it, absolutely go with it. It doesn't matter if you're maybe 3, 4, 5 tenths of a second off your ultimate pace. It's all about managing those tires, managing the gap around you, and managing the race ultimately.
Yeah, it really is about management. And speaking of that, we anticipate here the fuel stop window being able to extend to about 40 to 41 laps. So more than likely 2 pit stops will take place over the course of today's 100-lap race. And that is going to be the fuel window for sure. I think tire limitations also playing in as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see some drivers maybe popping in a little bit earlier. So we've got a little bit of a move there in the back. I believe that is going to be Mark Redford trying to dive down to the inside there of Harry Wills. That is Redford in the 77 on a very, very low line. Will's getting a little bit up into the wall. I think he made a little bit of contact, and that's going to be Redford up and on by.
I'm watching this battle for the lead now, because that means that Matthew Bruno starting to get very, very close indeed to Isaac Grain, who's up in front there. That gap now just 3 tenths of a second, so really starting to bring it down nice and early there. And that looks like a car off in the background there. That was Jeff Browning. I saw him losing the tail end of it, trying to catch it. He goes down to the bottom of the track there, but manages to hold on to it there, DJ.
Very impressive stuff there from Browning. And yeah, that apron down on the backstretch really coming out to play here. We haven't seen as many cars getting loose necessarily out of turn 4s. Oh, we've got another car down, and I believe that's Reynolds. Yes, it is. That is the 35 machine. Some heavy damage down to the inside. That car looks like it's crabbing a little bit. He's going to pull out onto the track and go immediately down to the apron here, coming down onto pit in. He will stay out of the way of the leaders.
Wow, and yet again avoided a yellow flag there. So yeah, really, really impressed with that one. Stuart Reynolds so into the pits. He'll likely use his fast repair on that one, but we're away to hit lap 8 here, and for the most part, this has been a fairly solid, I'm not going to use any other words in case I jinx it, but this has been a fairly solid start to the race. You know, Matthew Bruno is doing everything he needs to do. So is Sean Campbell, by the way. I mean, this is by no mistake a 3-car race for the lead right now. But it's all kind of irrelevant in terms of the gaps away down, even down to Dean Timms. Because as soon as there's a yellow flag here, DJ, this race gets immediately neutralised. But as it stands right now, 3-car breakaway.
Yeah, definitely a 3-car breakaway there. And I've got to say, I'm very interested to see what Bruno was doing. You saw him there on the low side coming through 3 and 4. It looks like he's just experimenting a little bit, David, trying to see where that 24 car is going to run, try to see what he can be able to get. And I like that mentality for him. Now it looks like he's going to stick up high through 3 and 4. Once again, just testing the waters, trying to figure out where that speed is.
And listen, that's exactly the key to unlocking this track here, unlocking the different pace on this circuit, because the one thing that we know, and that I've learned from NASCAR, is that the track evolves over the course of this race. Where at the start, you know, it might be faster to go, say, up the high side. By the time that your tyres are rubbered, then it might be actually quicker to go on the low side. That's exactly what these drivers do, and that's what a driver that I would imagine, DJ, is very comfortable with his car, with his setup, and with the way everything's going right now.
Exactly. In Miami here, Homestead, it does tend to be a little counterintuitive in the way that it runs. It takes a little bit for that lower line to really rubber in and become effective, as we've got a little bit of a pass there in the back. That is the 96 of Matthew Heatrick trying to get a move done on Browning. Browning tried to dive that car a little bit too far into turn 1 and 2. Looks like that's not going to play out for him, and that is going to be Heatrick up ahead, but it looks like Browning's going to try to have a little bit of a fight back here. Again, we've got another little good battle going on there between Harry Wills down to the inside, trying to throw a slide job on Mark Redford.
Yeah, just got the tail end of that cracking little battle we've got going on here for P4 and P5 right now. Harry Wills, of course, needs to get the points. That's exactly what tonight is all about here. He needs to get a strong finish right now. And at the moment, Mark Redford is the only driver that's standing in his way. I don't know if that was just me seeing things there at DJ, but that looked like a heck of a wiggle from the tail end of that car on the exit of the corner there.
No, that wasn't just you, David. That was a massive slide around there for the 77. I am amazed that Mark Redford was not only able to keep that car pointed the straight way, but also keep up the speed and keep Harry Wills behind him. Very, very impressive there from him. Now it's going to be Redford down to the inside. Wills trying to work that high line, carry the momentum around. Looks like here that Redford's going to try to slide up ahead of the 95 of Wills. He is, but Wills is now going to go down to the inside here. Let's see if he's going to be able to carry that momentum down through 3 and 4.
And you know, I think he will actually, because he looks so good. As that's another big slide there on the inside there from Mark Redford, excuse me. I just saw the tail end of that car just fishing out there and almost, you know, a proper Tokyo drift round the corner there. So he's holding on to it, and there was Harry Wills as well. Big slide into the wall.
Yeah, he's up into the wall. He's down onto the apron. Is that going to bring out our first yellow of the day? Massive damage to the front of that number 95 machine. I don't think he is going to bring out the yellow, though. Let's go back to the replay here presented by Go for the Gap. That car just gets sideways, and it snaps on him. He tags the outside wall, and then here comes the hard one. Bam! Right into the inside barrier.
Oh, man, you hate to say it, do you? That car is absolutely toast. The good thing for him is that it's not really going to matter too much because he has to just get himself into the pits. The bad news for him is that didn't bring it a yellow. That is even more costly, I think, than just having that accident, DJ, is the fact that we are still green flag racing. I'm absolutely loving it. We're about to hit lap 15 here, but he really wanted that yellow flag to come out.
Yeah, he certainly did. As there you see the pop back into place that signifies that spare car being taken. It looks like he is going to go ahead and take tires, probably a little bit of fuel while he has had it. We check back in on a gaggle of cars running around in the mid-pack here. That is Brody Menard in the 92, leading the way from Matthew Heatrick, Brandon Hughes, and Jeff Browning as they go. Browning a little bit farther back along there. Kevin Stam in the 6th, the one directly in front of this pack.
Another thing to notice, DJ, is that we're nearly 1/5 of the way through this race already, and we're barely 15 minutes in here. The other, you know, the point you made earlier about it being a little bit easier in terms of the yellow flags, with the fact that we've only got 13 cars in this race, I think that's going to be a huge factor because let's face it, none of these drivers, I think, would have been planning for a massive long green flag stint because that throws up so much in the air in terms of planning and strategy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. And as we said, we anticipate the maximum fuel window here to be about towards 41 laps. We watch here as Mark Redford trying to make a move down to the inside of Sean Campbell. This is for the final podium position. This is for 3rd place. Great run there for Mark Redford. He is really going to hold on to that car and try to bring it around. He's going to slot back into line. Is he to go down to the low side yet again? Yes, he is. We ride on board with the 77. You can see him there just trying to wheel that car a little bit of overcorrection on the out of the corner, a lot of overcorrection there on the out of the corner, but he's going to be able to get that slide job done.
That was massively impressive, I've got to say, for Mark Redford here. Now, he's been used to taking that middle line. I don't know how he's going to handle being up on that high side there, but yeah, that looked mega fast for that car there. A little twitch there again from that number 77 of Mark Redford there, but yeah, that was just beautiful, the confidence yet again that he has got in that car right now, and it looks like we're about to get a little battle coming up shortly for the leaders.
Yes, we are. Matthew Bruno continuing to close down there on the back of Isaac Rain. Rain has led since the drop of the green flag, but let's call that
DJ, what's happened to Harry Wills? He was in that fight for the top 3.
He was, and he is now all the way down the order. I don't see any massive damage there on the 95. What has happened to Harry?
Pit lane. He's had to go into to pit lane. Excuse me. Sorry, of course we know what happened, Harry. He crashed and he lost it fighting with Mark Redford. I had a complete senior moment there. I apologise, DJ. I dragged you down into that one with me. Yeah, welcome to old age, folks. I'm sorry.
It happens to the best of us, and I had completely forgotten about it as well. So there you go. We check back in, though, on that battle for the lead. Let's call that about 4 car lengths in between Rain and Bruno right now. And David, I'm loving what I'm seeing here out of Matthew Bruno. I'm not getting the sense of in an overeager attack. He's just stalking behind.
He really is, and it's a very controlled measure. And to be fair, I think Isaac is maybe he's going to like the fact that he's not actually charging at him. But another part of you is like, I don't like this. I don't like this constant pressure of having somebody constantly behind you there. So it's mixed fortunes, I think, for Isaac Rain right now. He can breathe a sigh of relief knowing that, I mean, the lap times that they're doing are just ridiculous. 34.2 in the last lap for Isaac Rain and a 34.3 for Matt Bruno. But they're just keeping themselves to themselves. They're just pulling away and just circulating.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like they're pushing that hard here to really get anything going. And I think for them, they just want to try to keep this up as we've got another little battle here in the back of the pack. Now, this is going to be Brody Menard leading the way, Matthew Hetrick behind them, Brandon Hughes and Kevin Stam. Those are the drivers that we watch right now as they go down. That's going to be a big dive there for Hetrick in the 96, trying to see if he can get anything on Brody Menard. Doesn't look like that slider's quite going to pay out, but he certainly is bringing the pressure.
And listen, that's 9-10 to the battle here, isn't it, at Miami? It's you have to keep that nose in. You have to keep the pressure on if you're going to be constantly moving forward. It's almost the polar opposite of what we saw from Rain and Bruno further up the field there. But the problem with it is this is where you get yourself into trouble here, DJ. Is, you know, you're dicing, you're battling with all these cars. You can have a bit of a moment, or the cars in front of you can have a bit of a moment as well.
Yeah, you can certainly have somebody just absolutely lose it there as we see Hetrick getting a little bit squirrely there on Brody Menard, trying to keep that car underneath him as they dive down into turn 1 again. Oh, that was Hetrick up into the wall, and that's going to check everybody up behind him.
Wow, that was a huge moment there for Hetrick. And the thing is, that evens everybody else up. Who was that off in the background? Was that Kevin Stam that was going down into the infield there?
I believe it was, and I've got to say here, Lady Luck certainly smiling on these drivers tonight. We are a quarter of the way down in this race. No cautions thrown thus far, and we have had 3 drivers, let's call it, get down into that infield area, get a little bit squirrely down as they ran there, and we are being able to keep clean and green. A little bit of a battle up here ahead. I believe that is Saoirse Fitzpatrick ready to flex her muscles and try to go to the inside of Sean Campbell.
Yeah, Saoirse just doing a stunning job of keeping under the radar right now, getting herself where she needs to be right now. And yeah, that car of Sean Campbell again looking a little bit loose on the tail end coming out of the corner here. Going to get that all-important slipstream coming out of the final couple of corners here. But look at how much of a gap Saoirse Fitzpatrick gets in that 4th position, but 6 seconds behind 3rd place right now, and barring a yellow flag, you're in no man's land right now.
Yeah, she's not going to have any draft to really pull her along up to Redford, up ahead of her. That gap, about 4 or 5 seconds, as you said. It's going to be a lot to try to pull in on the back of Mark Redford. And, normally at a different track, I would say maybe try to play a little bit of leapfrog. I know in other machinery, that is certainly a possibility to get done around here. But I think at this point, she's just got to run her line and maybe hope for a yellow in the final 3 quarters of this race. Whoa! As we ride on board with Sean Campbell, he is fighting that thing all the way through turn 2.
So tyres are maybe cooked on this thing because he is not able to get any traction out the corner there at all. It looked like Saoirse Fitzpatrick actually maybe kissed the wall there on the inside. And look, there's Saoirse as well. Those tyres are gone. Saoirse's off into the infield here. And what is going on with these 2 cars?
I think they've just overcooked it a little bit. I think they are running a little bit too hard, too aggressive on those tires, and that has certainly taken them out. I mean, track temperature right now, you'll have to excuse me, I can only do it in American, and it's about 107 degrees Fahrenheit. Very, very, very toasty.
Wow, I'm a little bit lost for words, to be honest, because it's amazing how within like 2 laps it all goes horribly, horribly wrong. And look at Sean Campbell! That car is absolutely done, because here comes Brodie Maynard now, and poor Sean Campbell is going to get absolutely gobbled up.
Completely gobbled up there, and there it goes on by. As you said, that is the 95, or the 92 rather, being able to get on by. Oh, look at that thing just fighting out of the corners. It is all over the place. And I got to think here that they are just pushing until they can get to about lap 30 or 31 to be able to come down pit lane. Remember, we said we think this was going to be a 2-stop race, and that would be the window opening for that 2-stopper.
I'm watching this right now, and look at how much that Campbell is having to lift off into the corners, and how much speed is having to be scrubbed off there, wisping the car in, you know, off of the throttle, pulling it round. As soon as he even thinks about, as soon as he even dreams about touching that accelerator, bang, that rear end slips by, and I'm not sure, is this damage? In fact, is that Sean Campbell out of the race now?
He just DC'd for some reason. I'm not sure entirely what it is. I'm not seeing an official disco. Yeah, I'm not sure what is happening there to Campbell. Maybe that's an internet connectivity issue or an Alt F4, a quit out, but Campbell not showing up on our timing screens, and that is massive when it comes to championship implications.
Yeah, that is, wow, I'm really not sure. And the thing is that it's not like, I don't know what to say, because obviously you don't want to speculate. Yeah, he's gone. That's Sean Campbell out of the race. You can see that on the TV graphic there. But I mean, what on earth do you say to that? That is absolutely ginormous when it comes to the championship, as you said.
Yeah, it is, and that is going to really ramp things up here for the other competitors. Isaac Rain, in particular, is going to be sitting very, very pretty leading this race. Wow, I'm at a loss for words. And that doesn't happen here, David. I don't know what to say.
You and me both, brother. Goodness me, that is epic, epic action. Listen, this is racing. This is exactly what happens sometimes between these drivers. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It throws the championship wide open, and we now have a massive fight for the championship. I mean, that is. I'm just thinking about the points, and obviously before we came into tonight. In fact, what I can do, right, is I can do something super awesome. If I take that off and I put this on, we can actually quickly look at how the points were when we came into tonight. Sean Campbell, 221 points, so he was only 17 points off, and that was a big accident right in front of us there. That was Stuart Reynolds that went straight into the wall there, and we still, I believe we still are, oh, there we go, we're under caution then. So our first caution of the night there. Let's go and see what happened there, because we were too busy looking at the points there, DJ.
Yeah, we were indeed, and that took it away there. As this will be the replay. Watching here the 35 of Stuart Reynolds coming out of the corner, that rear end just wanting to give way. You see, he spins it, tries to catch it, makes contact with that outside safer barrier there, and just big damage to the front of the car. Luckily, the driver's behind him heads up enough to be able to get around and not really have to worry about too much, but that puts the 35 down in the order. And by the way, I am getting official confirmation regarding Sean Campbell. It was an internet issue, dropped due to upload packet loss. He lost connection to the server.
Oh my, that is, there's like this little kernel in your stomach that just kind of feels sick when you hear something like that. You know how much that meant tonight for the championship, and yeah, you'd hate to think in 3 weeks' time that something like tonight is what decided it, DJ.
Yeah, you do indeed. And you know, once again, we've talked about this a little bit before, but those mechanical gremlins that come in like that, the internet issues, sometimes the problems that you'll have when it comes to your actual mechanical components on your sim racing rig, whether it's your pedals failing, your wheel having a disconnection, something like that. We don't have mechanical failures here mimicked in the sim, but that is the closest thing we get to it. And you know, think of that as a blown engine. Think of that as a flat tire coming around here. That is kind of what has happened here as everybody gets their way back out on track. And the big winner here in this pit stop cycle, it looks to be Mark Redford, who was able to jump his way up forward ahead of Isaac Rain, Saoirse Fitzpatrick into third, Matthew Bruno and Matthew Heatrick rounding out your top five.
Well, he is going to be absolutely delighted with that one. And do you know what else is the fact that he didn't necessarily have that quick a pit stop. It wasn't like it was massively quicker than everyone else there. So that is a stunning turn of events there by Mark Redford. He was 2 seconds quicker in pit lane, but I think that was just generally because he was quicker down pit lane there. Harry Wills back into the pits as well, but wow, that has turned everything on its head purely because that now puts Rain down into second position, Bruno in third. But keep an eye out for Fitzpatrick. I think she's going to make a big charge when we go green again.
I've got to agree with you there. We've seen speed out of that number 7 over the course of the day, and I think she'll certainly be one to definitely charge her way forward. And yeah, to your point about the 77 and that pit stop for Mark Redford, it's not like he only took 2 tires. It's not like he did a short fuel here. That is a full service pit stop. He was just able to execute in pit lane better. And so good run there for Mark Redford. Very happy there for him to be able to get his way up forward. Saoirse Fitzpatrick there, as you said, in 4th place right now. I think she's going to apply a lot of pressure to the back here of Isaac Rain and Matthew Bruno. Watch for her. And Heatrick as well in 5th. I think that's been a particularly decent car. We've seen it in the trenches a little bit over the course of the day. And so that could be one that fights their way forward as well.
Well, that's exactly what we are going to watch coming out here. But it looks like I would imagine we're going to get the lights off on the pace car this time by, which means we've got one more lap to go. Indeed, there it is. You know, what can I say? I'm just psychic, absolutely psychic saying that there. Unfortunately, we've seen our fair share of yellow flags here in this World Series League Championships. Not so much though in the EU series compared to the US series, as I was mentioning before the broadcast there. But I guess DJ also gives us a quick chance to say another thank you to our sponsors.
It does indeed. And first off, one of those sponsors, Go for the Gap. Visit that Etsy page. Absolutely incredible motorsports inspired art. Really great stuff. And David, I know you and I have talked a couple of times off air of just how kind of brilliant and unique those pieces of art are. So head on over to their Etsy store. They're really wonderful stuff. If you want that cool pop of some motorsports artwork to be able to put in your office or your bedroom or your home, it is certainly something to be able to check out.
Yep, certainly is. So the car's coming round for our first restart of the day. Hopefully it's the last, but we've done well. We've got 38 laps in the book here at Homestead, Miami. DJ, let's get going.
Let's get going indeed. Waiting here for the green flag, and that's a great jump for Mark Redford, being able to pull away there from Isaac Rain. Saoirse Fitzpatrick right on cue, able to jump ahead over Matthew Bruno, that number 7 up to the preferred high side around here. It may take a lap for that lane to come in to get everything up to momentum, and they're going to be side by side there in the back. Heatrick trying to work his way forward a little bit. Matthew Bruno trying to fight off Saoirse Fitzpatrick, but it looks like Bruno's going to be able to hold on to that 3rd place. Very good battle there in the back. That is Brendan Hughes and Matthew Heatrick side by side going down into turn 3.
Here we go then, Rain though alongside Mark Redford going for it for the lead, but there we go, there's exactly who I said to watch out for. Saoirse Fitzpatrick into P3 as the leaders duke it out side by side. That's bringing Matthew Bruno up tier as well, so the two of them behind are fighting it out as well, but I was hoping that these two were going to slow down and bring themselves off to it, but it looks like because it's these 2x2 battles, DJ, they're basically dragging each other along.
Yeah, they really are as they go down through the corner here. That's going to be Isaac Rain up to the high line. Mark Redford down to the low line. Redford trying to get ahead, and that car getting a little bit squirrely as he tried to finish off the slide job. Looked like it didn't exactly work there. They're going to continue to be side by side. Matthew Bruno behind them, able to get by Saoirse Fitzpatrick, and the lack of battling there is allowing that 24 to close back in.
Wow, as if you wanted a little bit of drama injected into your race, fresh tyres and fresh fuel. That's exactly what that is going to do here, DJ. The car's all in that train right now, and this is so we know exactly what we're looking for. Lap 26, 27, 28. That is when the tyres will start to go off for these cars that are right up the front, that are pushing very, very hard. It could be, you know, differences in setup, differences in the way that the cars are pulling. That could be exactly why. Saoirse Fitzpatrick down into that fourth place, but what a move down the inside there by, is that Matthew Bruno?
Yes, it is. Bruno in the 24 trying to throw the big old slide job on Mark Redford as he tries to get it going. Looks like nothing's going to be there quite yet. Redford's going to have to re-rack him and try to get that back again. Looks like as they come now out of turn 3 that the 24 has got the crossover. Does indeed. Checks it up. Slide job complete as they cross over the start-finish line. A great run there, and he is not done. He's going to chuck it down on the low side into 3 and 4. Let's see what they've got.
See, I've got to be honest, DJ, when I do commentary on NASCAR here, it sounds nowhere near as exciting and as enthralling as you're able to make it sound, man. It's just, it's unreal. I've got a very, you know, calm voice, and you just lose your rag every time there's an overtake. This is what makes NASCAR so exciting. It's not so much the racing, it's the commentary.
Well, I take that as a massive compliment. I don't do non-excited well. I know that for sure.
I've heard you try, DJ. It's a very strange performance when you try and sort of keep it calm. As whoa, that is super close there from Matthew Bruno.
Yeah, very, very close there. Bruno continuing to try to run that slider line, and it's working out well for him up to this point. He's just got to get a little bit more momentum here, I think, to be able to get his way by Isaac Rain. They're going to be side by side as they exit out of turn 4 right now. This could be the opportunity that Matthew Bruno needs. He's going to chuck that car down to the inside, try to see what he can get done. Waiting for the overlap as they now enter into turn 2, trying to see if he's going to be able to cross him over and get it done. Not quite yet. He's going to have to keep working on the 63 of Isaac Rain.
And this is just absolutely amazing action that we've got going on here. We're currently looking from the back of Isaac Rain right now. And Bruno, I think, has already got that position. Well, he's not quite sealed it, but you've got to say, I mean, he's looking so good, but later onto the brakes there, that allows Rain to get up to that high line there. But it's about whether he can keep that momentum. The problem for me is that the more that Isaac Rain keeps to that high side, the quicker he's going to burn through his tyres, DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Bruno is also as well not being able to really run the preferred line that he wants to. He's going to be burning through his stuff as well. Both of these drivers battling side by side like this is going to use up their stuff. As it looks like Bruno has got the best run that he's had thus far. He's had about a half a nose ahead as they crossed over the start-finish line, waiting to see here if he's going to be able to throw the move in full. Waiting as they come out of 2, still about a nose and a half ahead, not able to get the move done, but back to that point, these drivers are going to be using up their stuff.
Absolutely, that's the key thing here, and we've seen how quickly it can go from hero to zero in the space of like 3-4 laps here. But I think you're right. I think Bruno now has got the measure there. He needs to keep that pace up there, but have a look at Mark Redford. He's fancying sneaking himself into this little battle as well, because, you know, Redford doesn't have a compromised line. He could just pick what car he wants to follow and just take a sip of the drag in front.
Yeah, indeed he can, and it looks here a little bit like Matthew Bruno starting to fall a little bit behind as they entered into turn 3. We may see those tires on the 24 starting to go a little bit. Well, as soon as I say that, that's the best run I've seen him have. He was almost able to clear and get up in front of Isaac Rain, but Rain able to carry that momentum around the high side, keep that car going. And as you said, though, Redford just picking the line that he wants to run behind. And if we continue green to the end here, that's going to be a good run for him, as he's just going to be able to kind of go along as he wants to. Continuing to watch here, Mark Redford on board with him right now, working around, trying to see if there's anything to go, anything to push. He's not pushing all that hard, just going as well as he can around this point. Rain and Bruno continuing to duke it out ahead of him.
Just watching that battle up in front as well. Mark Redford, I wonder if that's maybe why. And there we go, Bruno now has got the actual lead now. So he's finally got that moved on. Dips into the inside line. Now, if you ask me, I think he would have maybe been better taking that high side, try and block it off. But again, he's now got the pace. So whatever groove he's in right now is working very, very well for him. But yet again, within 15 laps, this gap, this whole field, this entire race has opened right back up again.
Yes, indeed it has. Is with Bruno there, look at that. He's already able to pull a 0.3 of a second advantage. Let's call that 5-6 car lengths in between the two. Absolutely on fire here as they go, really and truly being able to pull out as they really get everything going. I'm amazed. We have to jump back in the field there, though, because we've got some good battles starting to play their way out in the back. That is Harry Wills, Brony Menard directly ahead of him, and Brandon Hughes trying to close, or Kevin Stam rather, trying to close in on the back.
Yeah, this is a fascinating little battle that we've got going on here. This is P5, 6, 7 and 8 all wrapped up here as Wills has a little bit of a jiggle with the car there. He was a little bit late on making a decision on when he exactly wanted to pull out there. Takes to that inside line there, but I think, well, actually what's happened there is that Brody Menard has kind of lost that pace coming out of the corner, and that was a very easy overtake. Now, let's keep our eye on these cars here, because I wonder if we're now going to start see these tyres start to fall off very, very quickly indeed.
Well, remember, just when we sort of were starting to see those drivers really start to lose it, that was at about the lap 30 or 31 mark over the course of that first stint. And so I would have to imagine here that we would start to see drivers really start to lose their stuff a little bit if they were running hard, probably around the, I would say, 60 to 70 lap mark here. So we'll have to see a little bit of a wiggle there in the back for Brody Menard. And indeed, it looks like Kevin Stam noticed that as well. He's going to get a move down to the inside, send that move down into turn 1. It looks like he's going to be able to clear Brody and indeed move that number 6 up into 6th place.
And what a move that was. It made it look oh so easy as well for Kevin Stam, because we did see Kevin Stam losing that car down onto the inside line on the first couple of laps. Thankfully, it didn't hit the wall, didn't really come into any issues whatsoever, but it just shows you how your fortunes can change if you just stick into it and just keep pushing through here. But Brody Menard, yeah, I feel that those tyres are starting to get a little bit chewed up on that car there, or something is just not working right. You see a little bit of contact on the left-hand side of that car there, DJ. It just feels like whatever he's doing right now, it's just not working for him today.
Yeah, he's definitely falling back down through the order. Is the next driver that has his sights set on it is Brandon Hughes. Speaking of which, I want to jump us back up to the front of the field, as that is Mark Redford. We said he was staving his stuff until later on in the run. He's trying to have a little bit of an attack here on Isaac Rain.
Rain forced up to that outside line again, and Redford now has probably seen what was happening with Matthew Bruno earlier on there, and has just decided to do a carbon copy. You've got to feel like he was definitely hampered coming out of that corner there, because the speed that he lost was so much that Rain was actually able to pull straight away, whereas already he's right onto the back of him again here. So yeah, 57 laps in the book here, and now we're going to start seeing cars getting a little bit wobbly as Saoirse Fitzpatrick into pit lane.
Yeah, and I can report, by the way, that Saoirse made contact with the wall and definitely slowed down the momentum there of the number 7 machine as we watch now Rain going for the slide job on Mark Redford. He's going to be able to get that done. Redford looking for the crossback, though, but Saoirse making contact. And speaking of contact, that was Redford and Rain getting into each other out of 4.
Ooh, that was a little bit impolite, wasn't it, from Mark? Just a little bit straight into the side panel there of Isaac Rain. I don't think Rain's going to be too happy with that one. However, Mark Redford gets away with it. I was literally away to say, do you think this is these two working together? Of course, that could be on the cards for Mark Redford and Isaac Rain. It would make sense if they're wanting to work together, but it doesn't look like that's what's happening here. The gap absolutely opening itself out.
Yeah, I think here that that little bit of argy-bargy, as you would say, coming down into the corner out of 4, definitely an indication that they're not working together. They are scrapping for position here, but they've got to watch out. That gap is already up to about 1.2 seconds up ahead to Matthew Bruno, as now Redford is going to be able to pull ahead fully. Looks like Rain's going to think about sending the slide job down to the inside. Now he's going to end up going high and try to go around the outside of Mark Redford. Rain not able to get that done. He's going to have to re-rack and try it again.
Yeah, the problem is if they're fighting with each other, DJ, then it's done for Matthew Bruno. He can just streak off into the sunset here. They needed to act smart on this one, especially given that we're coming up to another set of pit stops, given how much they've been pushing the cars here. I would have said, geez, that was a huge wiggle there from Mark Redford there. I would have said Isaac Rain is more susceptible to this than Mark Redford. We saw Mark Redford taking his patience, taking his time with those tyres early on in this stint here, and the problem is that we can't say that for Isaac Rain as well, can we? Because he was having to fight that fight with Matthew Bruno, trying to stick to that high side and possibly wearing out his tyres a little bit more than Redford behind him, but also keeping an eye on this battle for 5th place here, because we have got a huge gaggle of cars. That's like 5 cars, I think, here, all fighting it out for that 5th place here.
Yes, they are, and right there, that is Harry Wills down to the inside of Brandon Hughes as they work around Hughes. Ooh, almost contact there between the two as they exit out of turn 4. Hughes running on the high side, Wills down to the low side, trying to get it out as they go.
Just watching them all coming through here. So I would imagine if we're going to be getting pit stops under green flag, I would imagine we're going to get up to probably lap 70, because you're going to want to leave the car as long as you can here, DJ, you know, on the tyres that it's got, so you've got as little to do on that final stint here.
Yeah, exactly. And the window is open as that is the 95. That is Harry Wills hard into the wall, still trying to catch it. That car's finally going to spin around. Is Harry going to be able to get that thing back under him before the yellow flies? No, yellow flag in the air. Second caution of the day here at Homestead, Miami.
Wow. I don't know what to say about that. That was so difficult to watch, wasn't it? The fact that, you know, Wills just absolutely crunched into the wall. It's safe to say, look, this has not been his day today. Yeah, he's going to keep going though, so obviously can't be damaged that hard.
No, I don't think it's too hard. It looked like a couple of scrapes and bangs with the wall. Let's go back and check out the replay. You can see that car getting loose. I'm not sure if Hughes was actually able to avoid that contact. You can see him just trying to fight it. I mean, he's got some pretty heavy damage to the front of the car and the right side there. The aerodynamics are obviously going to be thrown off a little bit, but I think the bigger implication for the rest of the field is what this means is they'll be able to make their second pit stop here under yellow, and that'll save them all a little bit of grief, as it does look like the 33 there of Brandon Hughes missing the lid of the roof there, or the hood, and so that means that he did indeed catch a little bit of that accident.
Yeah, the other thing with it as well, you know, and again, this is new for me watching this NASCAR, is the fact that you've got to wait. The pit lane isn't always open after a yellow flag. You have to wait for the pit lane to be opened to be eligible to come in. Otherwise, you're likely to get, or you will get rather than likely to get, a penalty, DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And so all drivers here being heads up of that and coming down into the pits under the correct sequence there. Looks like both Bruno and Rain able to come to rest in their box. Nice and easy, waiting for service to be completed on these cars. I anticipate 4 tires being taken for everybody. You can see those cars popping up onto the jacks, waiting for everybody to get out and underway. It looks like Matthew Bruno is going to be the one to be able to get out easiest. That's the 24 followed by Redford and Rain. Kevin Stam able to jump his way up a little bit, and Brony Menard up into 5th.
Well, that was a bit of an epic pit stop, and if I'm honest, I think that might be the last time we see them into the pits tonight. They've got enough fuel to get going through. The tyres can definitely last 35 laps if they are gentle with them. Big if on that one. However, given again that we're only really going to have 7 cars on the lead lap here, I think it's all going to be about this final stint here, because we could get to the point where we've got maybe like 6 cars that are fighting it out essentially for the race here, and that is almost going to guarantee us getting through to the end.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there on that part, as we do have many drivers that have seen very, very quick here today. And with the double file restarts, that's certainly going to help things out. I also want to point out here, Saoirse Fitzpatrick worked her way up into 6th, courtesy of that last pit stop. So that is going to be a good run there for Saoirse. We've been talking today, David, about her run over the course of the season and how we're basically just waiting for the right time for her to really be able to close in, and maybe she can make a little bit of magic happen here from the 6th place position.
I'd like to think so, but as I said, it's whatever has happened. I don't know if it's currently moved to some sort of ancient burial ground, or maybe she's broken some mirrors or something like that. But luck is definitely not on the side of that number 7 so far in the past couple of races here. As long as she can keep her nose clean and out of trouble, then there's a huge chance for Saoirse tonight.
There certainly is. Lights still on the iRacing pace car here, so we still got about 1 more lap, at least under yellow flags. Should get racing here, I think, with about 32 or so laps to go. We've seen these cars been able to do it, as we've said before. The pit stop window is about 41 laps, so these cars should be good on fuel to the end. I think the only real question is if we get another yellow, will drivers opt to come down to pick up some fresh sets of rubber? But I can tell you right now that those lights are out. We are ready to get going back under green next time by.
Boogity, boogity, boogity is all I've got to say on that one. That is the closest that you're ever going to hear me becoming to an authentic NASCAR commentator. I think probably, thankfully for everyone listening at home. I'm just watching actually Isaac Drain here. A little bit close, I would say, to the back end of Matthew Bruno there.
Yeah, I think Isaac wants to get a move on, and David, I have to tell you, I'm glad that I was on push to talk and not on mic hearing you say boogity, 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 because that may be my new favorite thing.
Yes, come on. I want to hear you do that on the restart, please. I will find your PayPal. I will make it happen, please.
All right. We'll get a little bit of DW coming back in here when we get back to the restart.
You got to love it. You got to love it. Yeah, well, all I can say is we're getting better action than we did last time out, but let's go, DJ.
Here they come to the green, and boogity, boogity, boogie, let's go racing in Miami. The green flag back in the air. It is a restart from Matthew Bruno that is going to be able to see him clear up into P1. Isaac Rain's going to try to slot behind there. Looks like Brony Menard and Mark Redford trying to sort themselves out. That's Redford running on a super high line there. Oh, Redford a little bit sideways in the back. Was he able to catch that car as it went around? Yes, it was, but that's not without losing some significant positions.
Oh my god, I'm so happy. What can I say? That was the best restart ever in NASCAR history. But look at Mark Redford from 0 to 0 in the space of a lap. He's all the way down into 5th position now. He'll definitely be able to work his way back up here, but a second and 1.5 seconds off of the leader already is not where he wanted to be, and he is under big trouble, because have a look at Hughes and Harry Wills. They fancy getting a piece of this action as well, but how much pace has Brandon Hughes got got in that car. You see the bonnet off of it. Surely you've got to think, DJ, the top line speed of that car is going to be affected.
Yeah, the aerodynamics on that car definitely not going to be handling as well as the 33 would hope. As there you can see him trying to defend a little bit from the 59 there of Jeff Browning. I've got to say, I am impressed that he's able to keep up the speed that he is in that number 33. Just ahead of them, though, we are side by side. That's Redford trying to get a move on Kevin Stam.
Yeah, and Sam trying to hold on to that outside line. He's doing a good job of it as well. Redford, I mean, he wants to try and repeatedly use this low line, but it's just not working for him. Other than that as well, we're also seeing Saoirse Fitzpatrick making way up through the field there, but down in that 8th position. I'm wondering again, is there any damage on that car as well?
Yeah, there may be. We've seen a lot of drivers getting all too friendly with the outside wall around here at Homestead, Miami over the course of the day, so I wouldn't be surprised if Saoirse's carrying just a little bit of damage potentially. Wow, as there she goes, big spin, clobbers into the wall. That is Saoirse Fitzpatrick around. She's able to keep the car running and dives it down onto the apron, but that will bring out our 3rd caution of the day.
Man, that's... what did I say? It's luck. It's you get to this tail end of the race, and she does so well to get up there, and then it just all goes downhill. Man, that's so difficult to watch.
Yeah, it really is. It just looked like that car got a little bit away from Saoirse there. We're going to watch the replay. That is her down on that super, super low line. You can see it start to drift up there a little bit. The rear end just starts to break away. Oh, barely avoiding contact there with the 95 of Harry Wills was Saoirse Fitzpatrick. And heavy, heavy damage to the front of that car. I've got to imagine if she hasn't taken her free repair already, she will be wanting to come down. So we ride on board here, watching the onboard. Yeah, and there you can see just what it was. This is watch, and you can just see how it goes. You can see it start to break away a little bit there. She tries to catch it, and then that snap oversteer hard into the wall. And David, that is such a difficult position to be in. Almost nothing you can do in that situation.
You're literally just a passenger at that point, DJ. I know from my own very limited experience on these ovals here, the cars aren't set up for you know, that responsive way that we see in road racing. They're designed to stick to the ground when going in a certain direction when these cars are set up this way. It's different if they're on a road course, but with these ovals, they're meant to go one way, and when you try and put them into something they're not set up to do, all hell breaks loose. And I get the feeling that her fast repair has been used. That's the reason she's not coming into the pits.
Yeah, and a very interesting development here is we are seeing Mark Redford down pit lane, maybe getting a fresh set of tires there to see if he can have a little bit of an advantage. I'm not entirely sure, but the 77 coming down pit lane, and that's not honestly something that I would have anticipated. Pretty heavy damage to the right-hand side of that car, though.
Yeah, that's a bit of a strange one. Big damage on the right hand side. We saw that there, and you can see just a little hint of the damage on that right hand side. So yeah, like, I mean, they'll catch back up, but the problem with that is that they're half a lap down just now. They just have to hope that they get back to the tail end of that group by the time that the pace car comes in. I think that won't be an issue, but yeah, it's yeah, the lights are still on, so it should be fine.
Yeah, he'll be able to catch back up there. I think with that damage, we didn't really necessarily anticipate just how much that was. And so I think for Mark Redford, probably just trying to use the virtual mallets as they were to try to bang out some of that car, fix a little bit if they could while they were in the pits.
It's so unfortunate to see, isn't it? I mean, you know, you're so close to the end of the race here, and I guess it's trying to just put yourself in the best possible position. Yeah, we'll wait and see. I think Fitzpatrick has thrown a bit of a Hail Mary here, purely because the damage on that car, that's going to be going backwards I would presume, at a rate of knots here.
Yeah, that is some pretty heavy damage to the number 7 machine as we cross over the start-finish line here. I believe the lights will go out on the iRacing pace car, and indeed they do, so we will get restarted here on lap 76. Only about a quarter of this race left to go. Drivers should be good on fuel and tires to the end here. This is going to be a shootout to the finish.
100% is. Fingers crossed we get green flag running to the end here, but it is now a dogfight. It's now between Bruno and Rain. I think Redford, I think, is going to have too much to do to get through from that 9th position. If we do get another yellow flag, it's going to be within the next 10 laps. But yeah, I think we're all set up now for this this final stint of the race here, DJ.
I think we are as well, as the Race Anywhere number 24 machine going to be bringing these cars to green. Isaac Rain and Brody Bernard hoping to be able to get a better jump than they did last time out, as they lost a little bit of time and a little bit of positioning to the number 24. Now as they come around, working and waiting, trying to see what everything will play itself out to be. Here they go, coming back to the green flag. And the green flag is in the air. There is the jump from Bruno, and that is Bernie Menard with a great restart. He's going to be able to come up alongside Isaac Rain and challenge for that P2 as they dive into 1 and 2.
Yeah, this is excellent stuff. Maynard was not expecting that at all, although having to lift off slightly, that's allowing Isaac Rain to slip out, and that's a car off into the inside there. I'll get an idea on that. That was Kevin Stam that's gone all the way into the infield there, and we have got chaos kicking off here in the backstretch.
Yeah, we very much do, and that was a result, I think, of Isaac Rain getting a little bit loose. We've got a car up into the wall there. I believe that's Dean Timms. Timms spun around. Is that going to bring out another yellow? He's facing backwards on the track. Timms trying to get that car turned around a little bit. Is he going to be able to tow before we get a yellow flag? He's going to try to wheel it. Here he goes, working his way back around, trying to go down pit lane. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe we haven't had the yellow thrown yet.
Oh, no. No, what's going on here? We need to see what's going to go on here, because surely this has got to go under yellow here. That car absolutely stuck in the middle of the track there. He's got it off the racing line. Brilliant to see there. So yeah, that's out of harm's way there, and I think he's brought that back to pit lane. So yeah, Dean Timms has got it going. Whoo, that was a bit sketchy there, DJ.
Yeah, that had my heart in my mouth there a little bit. I was anticipating absolute calamity as they came through the corner, and thankfully Dean Timms being able to get that car down into the stationary area. So let's reset here. Matthew Bruno continues to lead from Isaac Rain, from Brody Menard right now. They're on a little bit of a breakaway from Mark Redford, who's been able to work his way back up into 4th place and is trying to close in on those podium positions.
I'll be honest with you, DJ, I'm a little bit devastated for Dean Timms that didn't pan out how we were fearing there, because that almost certainly would have been us securing a spot on the iRacing Not Top 10 on YouTube there. It's like the sign that we've made it as a commentary duo, is it? Unfortunately, it probably would have involved cars going 40 foot in the air in Skittles fashion. Dean Timms, though, getting himself down into pit lane. 22 laps left to go. We are going to get a proper finish to this race now.
Yes, we are, and Matthew Bruno here that we continue to watch in that Race Anywhere number 24 machine, the green, as they work their way around here, absolutely dominating this race. Want to check you back on a little bit of a battle here in the back. This is Brandon Hughes and Kevin Stam. Now remember, Stam was running up inside the top 5 and had that incident off of the restart. He's going to send a move down to the inside here of Brandon Hughes. Hughes, who's still suffering from that damage from when I believe the number 95 of Harry Wills had his incident.
Just also checking in on Saoirse Fitzpatrick. Yeah, that car is done. Absolutely goose. The second slower every lap round is that car. Look at how much they're able to get away there. Barely able to get to the top revs here. And for me, I think Saoirse just wanting to cruise around and get those points right now. That's all that is on the mind right now. Still, unbelievably going to be a top 10 finish for Saoirse.
Yeah, indeed. A good result here to be able to just have some good statuitousness here for Saoirse Fitzpatrick. We've got a little bit of a side-by-side, though. This is Brody Menard and Mark Redford. That number 77 machine, despite the damage to the right-hand side of the car, an absolute missile here in the later stages of the race. Diving down to the inside here is the 77, and it looks like that move's going to be done and dusted.
Right, so if anybody in chat has got any recipes for some humble pie, I'm going to need one right now, because I'd said at the restart I don't think Mark Redford's going to be able to make anything happen here. He was down in 9th position, but my God, has he absolutely put the hammer on right now. 3rd position, and he is charging right now. We've got some lap traffic going through. I think that's Dean Timms just behind the 2 leaders.
Yes, it is, Dean. Looks like he's been able to come in and out right now. But yeah, Mark Redford able to push his way forward and secure a podium position, and it looks like he's going to be able to keep Brody Menard at bay for now, as the driver of that number 77 machine now has about 1.4 seconds to try to close down to Isaac Rain. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that necessarily, but it's certainly worth a shot here in the closing stages.
And that's exactly the point. 17 laps left to go. You have to throw every single dice that you've got in your arsenal right now. You're praying for a yellow flag. You're praying for Matthew Bruno and Isaac Rain to absolutely come to blows in front of you. It's unlikely to happen given that gap is extending very, very rapidly indeed. But stranger things have happened, and we've certainly seen that. And look at how much of a gap that Mark Redford has opened up on Brody Maynard. Maynard's in trouble. That car is absolutely going backwards.
Yeah, it really, really is. That gap up to about 0.8 of a second right now, and he's got to watch out from behind as the 59 of Jeff Browning could be on his rear bumper before we know. Let's ride on board here with Brody Menard. He's taking a little bit of a middle line through the corner. Let's see if he's having a little bit of that snap oversteer we've come to expect out of these cars. Tries to wheel it back a little bit. The car looks relatively okay there, David, as he came off a 2.
Tyres had gone. Absolutely 100% tyres had gone. That last lap was a 34.4. That was 7 to 0.8 of a second slower than the entire field around him. Jeff Browning did a 33.8. We'll see what he can do coming out of this one, but I fear that those tyres are very, very much done there. Yeah, 34.03 for that lap round there. So about half a second off of the pace with that car right now. He is just, it's crisis management right now for Maynard.
Yeah, it certainly is here, as he has just got to hope that Brody is going to be able to bring that car home in the last 15 laps and keep Browning at bay to be able to hold on to that number 4 position. As there you can see Browning starting to get more and more menacing in the rearview mirror of the number 92.
We'll go on board then with Jeff Browning right now in that number 59 machine in the Ford. Again, just look at how much time that Brody Menard is hemorrhaging, having to be very, very cautious going through the corners here, whereas Browning able to open up the throttle a little bit earlier and push things that little bit harder there. So it honestly looked like we had a car up into the wall there a little bit further up.
Yeah, I think somebody just brushing into the wall a little bit. I'm not entirely sure who that was, but it was probably one of our leaders there, which is not exactly good for Bruno or Rain.
Well, I'm just wondering, was that actually Isaac Rain there? Because it was a dark-coloured car, certainly. We'll go on to the right rear here. No, that car looks absolutely fine. Was it Mark Redford? Well, no, Mark Redford's car is pretty much trashed anyway, but yeah, maybe it was just the camera angle there. But either way, we've got 12 laps left to go, and it looks like it's starting to really, really open up these gaps right now.
Yeah, up at the top, things have very, very separated out. Our closest battle right now is actually for P7 right now. That is Harry Wills trying to close back on the rear bumper of the number 33 of Brandon Hughes. Wow, as that's Harry Wills getting all kinds of sideways at the exit of turn 2.
Wow, another car whose tyres I think have left him about 5 laps ago here. Again, it's coming out the corner. The car gives you this false confidence, DJ. You listen to the audio cues and you think, right, the car's going up, and then you put down the throttle a little bit harder, and then suddenly the revs just go up and up and up and up, and you know exactly at that point, as into the wall there goes Harry Wills. I mean, this is so strange to see because the early part of the season, Harry Wills was absolutely ridiculous in terms of competitiveness, and it's just all seemed to have fallen away from him in these last couple of races here.
Yeah, it really has, and I think it may be a little bit of track selection. We were on a little bit more of the traditional NASCAR bread and butter circuits when you look at Charlotte, when you look at Daytona, things like that early in the season. And coming to, frankly, the more unique places like Pocono and Homestead, it just looks like Harry Wills has struggled a little bit.
Yeah, it's a difficult one for sure, but yeah, it is what it is here. But just watching this this battle all sort of peter out now as Mark Redford is what looks to be about, what's that, 0.4 of a second? Yeah, 4.5 seconds away from Brodie Maynard right now. So as we look on track here, I've got to be honest, I think this race is looking kind of done and dusted for Matthew Bruno. However, Redford on an absolute mission right now here, DJ. Looks like he's going to be charging for second place with 9 laps left to go.
Oh my goodness, I was not expecting this battle to fire off here quite this soon, but Mark Redford already up to the back of Isaac Rain. He's going to go down to the inside. The 63 going to try to hold off that slide job as they come down through 1 and 2. Is Redford going to be able to pull it out, diving down to the inside? He's going to try to slot up ahead of the 63. Does he have the crossover? No, he does not. That's going to be momentum to Rain.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff there, and that's exactly what you wanted to see. Dean Timms has had another accident. He's off into to pit lane. I think his night is done and dusted there, but what a move there for P2. You absolutely love to see it, do you?
Yeah, you really and truly do. Redford just absolutely not to be denied here today, and he is already starting to pull away from Matthew Bruno now as they fly out of turn 2. Call that a gap of about 3 car lengths, but Isaac Rain may be thinking about trying to have a little bit of a fight back, but he's almost going to gather the wall up there on the high side.
If you ask me, I think that's done and dusted now for Mark Redford, barring any incidents that he brings himself into there. The pace that he had to get that car right up into the contention with that second place car of Isaac Rain, and then to snatch it away like candy from a baby. Look, that was inspired stuff, and what a turn of the season. We were talking about Harry Wills there, DJ, and how it's kind of fallen away from him at the end. But my God, has Mark Redford absolutely bloomed towards this late stage of the championship.
Yeah, he really has. That 77 has absolutely been coming alive here, and with only 5 laps to go, it certainly looks like he's going to be able to hold on to that P2 position. We check back here in the field. This is Brandon Hughes trying to dive down to the inside of Harry Wills, who we were just talking about, and they'll be side by side as they cross the stripe with 5 to go.
And that's exactly what we have to now keep our eyes on here as Matthew Bruno, our race leader. As DJ just said, there are 5 laps left to go here. It's been a fairly calm and cautious affair here tonight. 3 cautions, I believe it was, or was it 4 that we've had here so far at Homestead, Miami. Yet again, the EU bunch showing how it's done. We'll have to wait with bated breath to see how the US lot have got in their tanks later on. Keep it locked on the Absolute Sim Racing Network for live coverage of that in just about 3 hours time here. But with 4 to go, I mean, this has been an exemplary performance here, DJ, from Matthew Bruno.
Yeah, it really and truly has. He has absolutely come alive here, started a little bit farther down in the field out there today, but he has been able to push his way forward. Whoa! That was the 59 there of Jeff Browning, almost getting turned by Kevin Stam. Stam going to be able to work his way by, but I've got to give credit there to Browning to be able to keep that car pointed the right way.
That was quite impressive feat of car control there with 3 to go. Yap Sam giving us all the heart attack there. I think the last thing that Matthew Bruno would have wanted at this point in time is the yellow flag, and we have got a yellow flag. That's Saoirse Fitzpatrick.
Oh, and that was Saoirse almost collecting your leader there. My goodness, that was close.
Right, okay, so shall we add that one to the commentary box list of jinxes about, the last thing that Matthew Bruno wants to see is a yellow flag, and we get a yellow flag.
Yeah, indeed. Now, I'm trying to remember how many green-white checker attempts we have here in this series. But Saoirse, they're almost running into the side of your leader. It does. I am getting a confirmation. We will have a green-white checker attempt here, 1 of 3. For those unfamiliar with green-white checker, what that basically means is we will restart the race here. Drivers will come around, have 1 full complete lap. The white flag will display, and then checkered flag will fly. Looks like all drivers going to come down to pit lane here, try to get some new tires. I like that call.
That's certainly I think you have to. I think everyone in, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Get in, get the tyres done. If you haven't already, use up your quick repair. I think make sure your car is in the best possible position. Roll the dice, and let's see what happens here.
Well, I think the car that I'm going to be looking at the most here is going to be the 77 here of Mark Redford. Car's going to look dangerously quick. I've got to imagine when we get back and going. Is that a long pit stop? That is a long pit stop for the 24. Bruno's going to fall well down the order.
Oh dear. Somebody, do you think somebody didn't turn off their repair? Because that's exactly what it looks like. His car is getting fixed. And but the thing is that in iRacing, you can just put your foot down and engage first gear, and it should cancel the repairs, if I'm right.
I believe so. You should be able to do it, but my goodness gracious, I'm a little bit speechless. This is a nightmare for Matthew Bruno. He's still down pit lane.
Tell me you don't want to win the race without telling me you don't want to win the race. That's heartbreak for Matt Bruno. To be fair, I mean, the car's still, there's still a vague chance that, no, they can't. He's already a lap down, so there you go. That's it. That is the race done, I would imagine, for Matthew Bruno.
Indeed. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. I am just speechless.
And
this
he's still there.
Hard.
He's
still
not like,
there.
Yeah, so I don't know what has happened to Matthew Bruno. That is bizarre.
Yeah, it's just a little bit crazy. Okay, but this is what this is all going to reset to right now. It will be Isaac Rain, Mark Redford, Kevin Stam, Jeff Browning, and Brody Menard at the top of your field. Again, we will have a green-white checker attempt here as we come around. So we will have 2 laps of racing. If a yellow flag is thrown before the white flag comes out, we will have another attempt at a green-white checker.
Oh man, right, okay, so we have to now turn our attention to the restart then. I think we'll only get the 1 restart here. I've got to be honest, I think this is Mark Redford's. I think the pace that he's shown at such an early stage and repeatedly through the race, it's really difficult for me to look at anybody else. Plus, I think Isaac Rain's fostering a little bit of damage there on the front right.
I think he is as well. You can see that car just turned up there a little bit. Lights are out on the iRacing pace car, so we will get back to green here. And there he is, Matthew Bruno, still down pit lane.
Oh, Alexa, play Despacito. That is... Oh man, I feel so bad. Imagine doing, 99.9% of a race here, DJ, and then for whatever reason you're stuck in the pits there. It's obviously damage related, or maybe he's had a failure, or something has just given up when he's in. We've seen it happen when it's in the pits, but yeah, look, heart goes out. But 3 to go. We now have to focus on the race at hand.
Yes, we do. And I've got to agree with you. I think Mark Redford is going to be sitting in a little bit of the catbird seat with the speed we've seen out of that number 77 machine. But all right, we get ready to go back racing here, waiting for the green flag to fly. It's going to be Isaac Rain that brings him in, and he is going to get the jump early, tries to get out ahead as fast as he can. He caught Redford napping just a little bit. Kevin Stam going to slot in behind Redford, but we are back on the first green-white checker attempt here at Homestead.
Yeah, here we go. Beautiful aerial shot here overhead of Isaac Rain there, just eking out that little gap. But look at Redford. Look at the pace he's able to get. He'll be in the slipstream range now. That car will go through. And Brody Maynard goes down into the infield. There's still green flag. And we could get our white flag. That was a moment for Rain. You saw the slide there. And that brings Redford right up to the back end of him.
And white flag in the air. The next flag will finish it. Here comes Redford to the outside, trying to make that outside line work. Behind them, the number 6 trying to see what he can do as well. That is Kevin Stam seeing if there's anything. Redford now carrying momentum. Is he going to look at the slide job going down through 3 and 4? This is going to be a battle of wills here. Who is going to be stronger, Rain or Redford? Redford to the high side as they come down through 3 and 4 for the final time. Redford going to be holding on to that low line, trying to see if he can get the line out of there. I don't think he's got it, though. It's gonna be Isaac Rain crossing over the checkered flag and taking victory here at Homestead.
Wow, wow, wow. Did not expect that. Mark Redford, try as he might. Isaac Rain is a very, very lucky boy tonight here. Going over to that white flag. He had a monster of a moment there. And wow, that was just epic, epic stuff there, DJ.
Absolutely epic, absolutely incredible. My goodness, that is exactly what you want to see when you talk about it. Let's check out that replay here, David. You can see just how close they were coming to the line.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this is the moment there from Isaac Rain there. You can see that car sliding about there, and that is what gave Mark Redford the sniff of an opportunity there. He thought that was going to be his moment, and you know, for all intents and purposes, it really should have been. Isaac Rain though took a later dab on the brakes on that inside line there, just held it out, and where Redford, DJ, was able to go side by side to keep going. Yeah, it just wasn't to be there for Mark Redford, and yeah, brilliant win there for Isaac Rain. I've also got to say, DJ, a huge apology to Justin Delano in the YouTube chat, because apparently I set off his personal assistant device by that little voice command that I said earlier. I'm not gonna lie, that is kind of cool though.
It just shows you it's there and it'll get you if that happens. So certainly one of those things. I love that. That's the highlight of my day. All right, so let's run you through the final finishing order here. As we said, it was Isaac Rain able to take victory ahead of Mark Redford, Kevin Stam, rounding out your podium positions. Jeff Browning was in 4th, followed by Matthew Heatrick, Harry Wills, Brandon Hughes, Brody Menard, Dean Timms, Matthew Bruno. These getting into the drivers that were a couple of laps down. Saoirse Fitzpatrick, Stuart Reynolds, and Sean Campbell rounding out your field. Well, the first driver up is the driver that we said had some good speed throughout the day, Mark Redford, joining us here in the booth. And Mark, talk us through that one. Talk us through that green-white checker. It looked like you had the momentum there.
Hi, DJ. Yeah, yeah, the green-white checkered at the end. It was a shame, actually, for Matthew there, because Matthew deserved the win, but yeah, bad things happen sometimes, don't they? Yeah, because Isaac got a bit tight, didn't he? In turn, I had the momentum, and then yeah, he defended really well. He put the car in just the right place, and yeah, I had to try to go for the outside, but I lost the momentum there. So yeah, congratulations to Isaac on the win.
Well, I mean, talk to me about how the car was handling today. It looked like everybody's car was an absolute handful, and you had some damage to the outside, to the right-hand side of the car. How are you finding it out there?
Yeah, well, I was struggling all through practice to find a setup that I could drive, because the car is an absolute menace around here. It just wants to snap and slide, and so I just dropped the rear, got the car nice and tight, so I knew that I could, drive it, and if I'm alongside somebody, have some confidence in the car. So I found something right at the last minute, and it seemed to work. I thought I'd be slow, but actually the car seemed to be almost as quick as the guys in front. So yeah, it was good. Yeah, I getting that. I think I made the right choice there, tightening the car up just before the race started.
Well, I'd say you did as well. You really looked like a rocket ship out here today, and we were talking about it. But speaking of rocket ships, we end the season in maybe a little bit of terror, maybe a little bit of excitement. I'll let you tell me, but we end at Dega. How do you think that's going to go?
Oh, let's roll the dice and see what comes. Yeah. I was looking forward to the start of the season at Daytona, but yeah, it just went horribly wrong for me. And then trying to recover, there was a car parked right in front, and the car in front of me moved over, and I had nowhere to go. So, stuff happens at Talladega and Daytona. Was I'll either be right at the front or dead.
I think that's how that goes pretty much in any of those restrictor plate races. But Mark, a second place here today, nothing to shake a stick at. Is there anybody you would like to thank?
Yeah, I want to dedicate the race to Matthew, who should have got the win. You guys, thank you for the broadcast. Always good as ever. I love to watch them afterwards. And a big shout to Will, my son, who's we were at a track day yesterday. That was a lot of fun. First time I've let him drive me around in the passenger seat. So yeah, slightly terrifying, but a lot of fun. So hello to Will, and and to everyone who's been racing tonight. It was good fun.
Well, good fun indeed. Mark, thank you and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Well, that was Isaac Rain, your second place finisher here, and we have now been able to catch up with your victor, Isaac Rain. Isaac, a great run out there, but talk me through that green-white checker. It almost looked like you lost it there in the final couple of moments.
Push it to make sure we got a win for the team. My car was a little bit wrecked for some reason. I didn't even know I had damage, and it was a little bit slidey and a bit loose, but that should have been Bruno's race to win. He didn't get taken out. I mean, it's basic knowledge fair enough, it was loose and it was difficult to race out there, but hold your brakes. Like, you got to hold your brakes if you're going to be wrecking. There's leaders coming. 2 laps from the end, there's no need to be pushing that hard when you're nowhere near making a position. It's a shame. That should have been Bruno's win, but yeah, I was just trying to push it and make sure I got the win.
Well, you certainly did a good job on it. And heartbreak there for Bruno, obviously. But, over the course of the race, how much of the looseness that we were seeing out of the car was tire wear and any of that? How much of it was just these cars on this track just looked like a deadly combination?
The whole are just really twitchy because there's not as much sidewall as there was last year. So naturally, your tyres don't have that same slip angle as they did last year. And at a track so hot as this, where you're carrying so much speed, it's very liable to just snapping loose, no warning. So it's difficult to get it in that window between it being really tight and really loose. And I think that's why you saw people getting loose today, because it's difficult to make a setup work with this car.
Oh, it certainly looked that way. And I guess looking ahead, I'll pose the same question to you that I did Mark Redford. We end the season on maybe a high note, maybe a little bit of a terrified note when we get to Talladega. It's the big monster. How do you think that's going to go?
I won't be running it, so I'm hoping it's an absolute mess and nobody else scores points. But yeah, Talladega's Talladega. I'm glad I'm not running it.
I don't blame you. That's one of the races that I'm always thankful that I'm up in the booth for and not down on the track. But anybody that you would like to thank here for the win today?
Yeah, I thank Bruno, who was a great teammate. Helped dial in this setup. I mean, we literally just started practicing and building a setup in this session, so it was a bit last minute, and our teamwork helped make that work then. Obviously, all at TGR Nation and Race Anywhere for their support.
Well, we thank you, and thanks to all the folks that you mentioned as well. And Isaac, congratulations on a win here today.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks for the broadcast.
All right. Well, that was your victor here, Isaac Rain. And David, absolutely an incredible race here today. And we've heard these drivers talk about just how difficult it was, just how hard it was to keep this thing pointed in the straight way. And I'm amazed and impressed we didn't have more errors.
100%. I mean, what a race that was. We only had like 13 cars, but somehow we had way more action and drama than we should have been entitled to tonight. So yeah, absolutely loving what we just saw out there tonight. And I mean, if I said to you that had huge, like absolute earthquake effect on the championship standings, would you believe me, DJ?
I most certainly would. I mean, we saw some of the big names there coming around, and there you can see it. That is going to be Isaac Rain able to bump his way up there into first place. Harry Wills only 3 points behind. Kevin Stam, Mark Redford. This is a four-way fight for the finish here.
Honestly, I was joking before about how we said, you couldn't script this, but my God, you've got like, we saw Sean Campbell, right? Sean Campbell was looking so comfortable coming into this race, but now down there in sixth place after one bad race, that's it. And what a race we are in store for next week. I cannot wait to see, DJ, how this all pans out.
Neither can I. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. And as you heard us say there from Talladega, I can't think of any better way to end that race. But as for today, that is about going to wrap things up for us here on behalf of everyone here at World Series League and the NASCAR Series. We would like to thank you for joining us here today. Thank you to Go for the Gap, Race Anywhere, and SIM3D for their support. On behalf of David Christie and myself, DJ Clark, we would like to thank you for joining us here today. And until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.